You know, we're just 4 days out till Election Day, and all this week we've been talking with local leaders to answer your questions on the election process. And I'm now joined live by York County Commissioner President Julie Wheeler to give us more insight into that county. Thank you so much for joining us and coming all this way. We appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Yes, we're happy to have you. So we're going to get right to it and talk about some of the numbers. There's been a lot going on this week. We want to put this up here because both Lancaster and York County are investigating voter registration cases. York County has reported that out of 3,000 flagged voter registration applications, 47% were verified and approved. About 29% of the applications were incomplete and will not be approved until additional information is provided by the applicants. The remaining 24% were declined, with 85% of those being duplicate registration requests and are now under review by the district attorney. So we want to talk really about York. And what are you learning, and is there anything new in everything that's happening in that county?
Really nothing new in regards to the bulk drop of voter registrations that were dropped off based on what you reported. At this point, we've passed everything that we believe should be looked at by the district attorney's office, and they're doing what they do and investigating those voter registrations.
Yeah, do people have a right, or should people be concerned about the validity of what is potentially being investigated in so many counties of these fraudulent voter registration applications? And can they trust that their vote is going to count for the election?
Sure. Well, at this point, we can't state whether or not they're fraudulent. That's up to the district attorney's office to identify that. But what we can say is that every person who's eligible to vote will be able to vote, and their vote will be counted. For those individuals who are in that kind of incomplete phase where we still need more information, those individuals can still vote on Election Day. They will just have to vote by provisional ballot. Provisional ballot will come back, and then before that provisional ballot is counted, we have to ensure that they are legally registered to vote in York County.
Yeah, and how long does that provisional process take?
The provisional process does take a little time. We have to finish our Election Day work, and then we have to ensure that that person hasn't already maybe voted by mail. So there's a lot of checks and balances that will occur before that provisional vote gets counted. We'll start that work probably 2 to 3 days after we close out the election. That's kind of the last part of the tabulation that will take place, is looking at those provisional ballots.
And then will those people then be informed whether their vote was counted or not?
Yes, they will.
Process?
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And so can you just talk about, you know, this is a day and age where there's so much misinformation, disinformation go around. There's clickbait. People read headlines, but maybe not the full story. What do you want people to know about what is going on in York County with this election process?
Sure. We want people to know that we are doing our very best to ensure everyone that wants to vote gets to vote in the manner they wish, whether that was voting by mail, whether that was coming in and requesting a ballot on demand and voting over the counter, or the hundreds of thousands of people who are going to go out on November 5th and vote in person. That we run safe, secure, and efficient elections in York County.
Yeah, do you think there needs to be tighter restrictions on registration drives?
Well, we see registration drives every election cycle, so this cycle is nothing new. I think what was a little bit different for us is the magnitude of the voter registrations that came in. Yeah. But that's certainly something that we can discuss with the General Assembly, because they set the laws in which we have to execute elections.
Yeah, and so, I mean, is there a way for people, I know there's a lot of mail-in ballots, is there a way for people to be able to check that status of their mail-in ballots? Do folks get emails saying it's come in? What does that process look like?
Sure, great question. So if folks have an email on file and have requested a mail-in ballot and have sent it in, they should get an automated email from the state saying that the ballot's been received. If they don't have an email on file, the best thing for them to do first before calling the office is to go to www.vote.pa.gov and enter the information, and that will give them the status of their ballot.
Yeah, and so we want to keep going because we know that people are anxious to get out to vote for this election. Earlier this week, we saw long lines outside of the Susquehanna County Elections offices. Today, the Department of State is releasing new daily numbers for mail-in ballots. So 76.9% of mail-in ballots have been returned. York County is below the state average with a total of 72.6 of mail-in ballots returned. So is your office recommending that people drop off those mail-in ballots now at this point in the process, and that can move forward with that?
Yeah, so for anyone who still has a mail-in ballot, we would encourage you to drop it off. So in York County, tomorrow and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at both our East York location and downtown location, we're having drive-up service. So folks can drive up and drop their ballot off. And then on Election Day, November 5th, we'll be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then Monday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
And are those hours extended hours or all, or are there going to be any plans for extended hours at all for folks?
Well, Saturday and Sunday typically we're not open.
Gotcha.
So we'll be open to the public November 2nd and November 3rd. And then Monday, normal working hours. And then Tuesday, we'll be open as long as the polls are open, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about Election Day and talk about what that day is going to look like for your county? Are there anything special or special things that you have in place for that day when it comes to polling, or if machines get shut down? Kind of what's going on for that day where people are going to be coming in person to
Sure.
vote?
So we have purchased some additional machines to be put at some of our larger polling locations. We are anticipating a high voter turnout. In 2020 general election, we had 77% voter turnout in York County. We do expect that we'll probably meet or exceed that percent voter turnout. So we have additional machines. We also have machines that are carried around with what we call rovers, who kind of drive around the county. And if someone runs into a problem, you know, we've got some backup machines that we can deploy.
Yeah.
We also have been working with our Constable Association to assure that from a security standpoint of the folks at the poll waiting in line and the folks who are out representing candidates, that everyone is doing that in a safe environment. So I know you're going to hear from Todd Ross in your next
Yes.
segment, so I won't steal his thunder, but we've been spending a lot of time working with the constables to ensure security at the polls.
Well, that's great. Well, you also taught me something new about rovers. I had no idea that there are people just driving around waiting for stuff to break, and they're there. They're there to be able to help.
Right. Well, York County's pretty big, 911 square miles. You know,
Yeah.
Delta to Dillsburg, Hellam to Hanover. So that's a lot of geography to cover. So we want to ensure that we have folks deployed in the field should there be a malfunction, that we can get that malfunction fixed or replaced.
Yeah, well, the big day is almost here. Is there anything else that you want people to know if they're planning to come on Election Day, they're voting in York County? What would you like for them to know before that?
I would like them to be patient. We do expect long lines, and our poll workers are really doing the best they can, and they will process folks in an efficient manner as they can.
Yeah, well, Julie Wheeler, listen, I know there's a lot going on in this time. I know you guys are incredibly busy. Thank you for making your way all the way down here to talk to us. We
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much, and good luck with everything.